Hello everyone. Lately I've been facing some time constraints, so I haven't been able to present as much as I've been desiring to. Luckily today I have the opportunity to present this video, which will be titled The Original Septentrionalis. And later today I hope to have posted the chapter 1 presentation. So, as you know, I'm reading Ancient Dacia. Still working on chapter 1. Been busy with other things for the last 3 days. Anyways, page 145, my translation. There's a quote here. It says, "We can't, therefore, from no point of view, neither paleontologic or archaeological, limit the geographic location of Quaternary man to the poles of the northwest Carpathians, and to separate from an anthropologic point of view the Dacian countries of Central and West Europe." Just to get a bit of background about this, chapter 1 speaks a lot about the world during Neanderthal, Cro-Magnon, now you know, Satyr, and a fourth race, which is a group of people, hairy people, with teeth that are called koltsats, which means they are very long and sticking out of the mouth. They sound to me a lot like vampires, but I'll just leave that for chapter 1 analysis, I guess. So, as you can see here, this 1 signifies that this is a quote. This quote goes into greater detail here. The internal sea in the Dacian countries in the last geologic times. When we constitute here the paleontologic and archaeologic point of view of the existence of the human species in the Dacian countries, still in the Quaternary epoch, he speaks a lot about this epoch specifically, we don't want to sustain that every region of this country, as is also presented today, that man could live everywhere in these parts in this distant epoch. The physiognomy, just so you understand, physiognomy means a person's facial features or expression, especially when regarded as indicative of character or ethnic origin, but there is also the physiognomy of the landscape, the general form or appearance of something. So in this context, it refers to the land. The physiognomy of the Dacian countries wasn't always the same as is presented in prehistoric epochs. Specifically, a significant part of the Hungarian plains are found even up to the beginning of the Neolithic epoch, covered with great masses of sweet, what I think is fresh water, which then slowly over a course of several thousand years retreated to the cataracts of the Danube and possibly through underground tunnels. Now, if you don't know what a cataract means, it's a large waterfall, a cascade, a rapid, white water, things of that nature. And now the quote. "Even today, a significant district in the northeast of Hungary, today Romania, bears the name of Mara Mureș, which means Dead Sea." And then in quotations, actually in parentheses, in Latin it's "Mori marusam hoc est mortum mare, comma, the Cimbri named it Oceanus Septentrional." And this was said by Pliny in HN 427-4. I'll clarify what this means in a little bit. On another note, Hungarian historic documents from the Middle Ages recall on multiple accounts different marshes, lakes, and ponds in the Tino-Danubian basin, and which in those times bear the name of Mortua with a V. I found something on the web for what time does bear need mobile. Take a look. Okay, what part of that involved me speaking to her? Mortua with a V, and Mortua Magna, in other words, dead water. Now, when I think of dead water, I am simply thinking of we cannot drink it. So the opposite of dead would be, it would be fresh, right? So today, dead water cannot be drunk. Salt water, water you can drink, fresh or sweet water. So when he says dead water, I automatically assume he's talking about salt water here. So then, let's break down this quote further to get a better understanding on what's talked about. One of the things mentioned here is the Tino-Danubian basin. So we have to figure out what the heck that is. Now, this map here shows the course of the Danube, for the most part, in present day. Right. So, as you can see, it starts in Germany, and it flows all the way through all these countries, all the way to Romania, and what becomes, what becomes the Danube Delta, if you will. And this is where in the book there's a lot of reference to the lower Danube and the upper Danube. Now this is not it's not a 100% recent map because the waterways have changed even more. I'll cover that in more detail later. Now then, he said the quote used is from Pliny or Pliny the Elder, and he refers to a people named the Cimbri. The Cimbri are, just to make sure I'm reading the right thing here, first paragraph. Actually, that's right. The Cimbri were an ancient tribe. They are generally believed to have been a Germanic tribe originating in Jutland, which is modern-day Denmark and parts of northern Germany. But Celtic influences have also been suggested. You can read this whole page, you can research them. They had some great words with the Romans, whatever. That's not what I want to point out. The next part of this article is this part. If the Cimbri did in fact come from Jutland, evidence that they practiced ritualistic sacrifice may be found in the Haraldskar woman discovered in Jutland in the year 1835. Noose marks and skin piercing were evident, and she had been thrown into a bog rather than buried or cremated. Furthermore, the Gundestrup cauldron found in Himmerland, Gundestrup cauldron, originates between 200 BC and 300 AD. Interesting. La Ten period or early Roman Iron Age. Interesting. Anyways, this cauldron found in Himmerland may be a sacrificial vessel like the one described in Strabo's text. The work itself was of Thracian origin. Now, if you recall, I should have had a map of this already, dang it. Wikipedia, trustworthy Wikipedia, except they lie a lot. So this line does it represent? I don't know. Next. Okay, this is it. Trace in 431 to 424 BC. There's the Aegean Sea, there's the Black Sea, there's the Danube, part of the Danube. Just looking at the Black Sea, you know that this is a significant area of Romania today. More specifically, I think this is the area mostly south of the Carpathian Mountains, southeast. This was just to get a general idea of where the Thracians were. So when they speak about the Cimbri in the beginning as being originating in Jutland, which is modern day Denmark, but then you have pottery, no, not even pottery, metalworking from Thracia. It's like, how did they get from one point to another? So just so you get a better understanding, this is Denmark today. So there's Denmark, and there's Romania, and this whole section. Yeah, probably this whole part right here was Thracian territory with better defined borders anywhere, so I'm not going to get into that right now. To continue on that webpage about the Cimbrians, quote 27. What is important about this quote 27? Aha. Naturalis Historia 4.95 Philemon morimarusam a Cimbris vocari, hoc est mortum mare, inde usc ad promontorium ruspeas ultra deinde cronium. Didn't make any sense, right? However, if you go to the section which presents number 27, here's what it says. There are few direct testimonies to the language of the Cimbri referring to the Northern Ocean, the Baltic, or the North Sea. Pliny the Elder states. Philemon says that it is called Morimarusa, i.e. the Dead Sea, by the Cimbri until the promontory of Rubea, and after that Cronium. That's the only part that I want to focus on here. The next is some other person's quote. Why is this important? Morimarusa. Well, if you go back to the text, he says this. Even today, a significant district in the northeast of Hungary, today Romania, bears the name of Maramuresh, which means Dead Sea. Morimarusam. So clearly, this HN is a reference to Naturalis Historia, the book that Pliny the Elder wrote. And here we have Wikipedia, the Cimbrians mentioned in the book, except in the book it's more clear. It clearly states Mortum Mare means Dead Sea, because even today in Romanian language the word mort, M-O-R-T, means dead. And the word mare, not only in Romanian but also in French, perhaps other languages also, means sea. So why would they call it Oceanul Septentrional? At least the Cimbri. Now, just to clarify, the Cimbrians they lived prior to 100 BC. Well, up until about 2,000 years ago, assuming that our current time calendar is correct. They had a great war with the Romans, but the idea is that this happened over 2,000 years ago. And the Dacians, or the Dacian Empire, was in that same time period, kind of, maybe a little bit later, I'm not sure. So here we have Pliny the Elder, here we have the Cimbrians using this word that we have come to know today on many maps from the 1500s especially, Septentrional. Now here is presented as Mortum Mare, or Dead Sea. Well, Dead Sea to me literally means salt. It means ocean. So then, how could they possibly name this area, which clearly is not an ocean today, ocean? So then we have to dig further. We have to go to see what the location is. Maramuresh is a part of Romania today. In the book, which was written in around 1900, he said it's part of, let's just read it again. Specifically, a significant part of the Hungarian plains are found even up to the beginning of the blah 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 blah. Oh, okay. Even today, a significant district in the northeast of Hungary bears the name of Maramuresh. Today, Romania was my addition, okay? So, Hungary extended all the way to here about 100 years ago. The Austro-Hungarian Empire had rule over Transylvania, which was this area. Transylvania had a feudalist system, feudalism. If you listen to the chapter 1 preface, I mean, part 1 preface, which I will continue speaking about after I finish the book, if there's just too much complicated material that needs to be understood first before I present. But the idea is, here we have Maramuresh, right? And something about this place says 2,000 years ago there used to be ocean or some body of water that connected to the ocean. So logically, the next thing to do. All right, before, yeah, Maramuresh on Earth. So I looked at which bodies of water are in that area of Maramuresh County of Romania today. And the one I came across is called the Tisa. The Tisa, or Tisa, is one of the main rivers of Central and Eastern Europe. Once it was called the most Hungarian river because it flowed entirely within the Kingdom of Hungary. Today it crosses several national borders. Anyways, this is the river Tisa, okay? As you can see in the past, mostly Hungarian, whatever. Though now I think it's the Danube. So the Danube flows this way, and the Tisa flows this way. So it merges into the Danube, if you will. So what is this area? This is the area in question. The Tisa begins near Rakhiv in Ukraine. Okay. Rakhiv, Ukraine. Oh, there we go. So clearly these are mountain areas and this is a valley. Clearly there are signs of water flow. And if we look from a distance, clearly it was a far more intense water flow. And more than that, this Rakhiv is right above Maramuresh. More so, so again, it's important to understand this part because it's related to the quote. Northeast of Hungary, today Romania, bears the name of Maramuresh, which means Dead Sea. Mori Marusam hoc est mortu mare. The Cimbri named it Oceanus Septentrional. Okay? So, this passage over here, which it could have either gone this way or this way, I don't know, was salt water in the past. Now, if we zoom out even more, we can see that this chain of mountains right here is the Carpathian Mountains. They run straight through the heart of Romania, but all the way up to here. Carpathian Mountains, okay? Now, it gets even better. As I was looking at information about this river, I came across this map. Hydrography of the Pannonian Basin before the river and lake regulations in the 19th century. This just blew my mind. I'm like, wait a minute. This is the mountain range I just showed you, the Carpathian Mountains. I know the geography of this area, but it never occurred to me that in the past there was just so much water. Look at all this water. So as you can see, this is foreign language. I think it's Hungarian. Oh crap, too fast. Those are probably modern cities you will recognize the names of. I mean, just look at all this. This I know is Romania for sure. A lot of these names I don't know. Probably just. Oh, there's Budapest. Okay. So yeah, the previous maps I was showing you, 200 years, 200, just, wait, before I get, oh, this is Timișoara, okay. Anyways, this is from Budapest, 1938, and this is supposedly showing how the world used to be in the 1800s, in this place. And this place was called the Pannonian Basin, or the Carpathian Basin. So all of a sudden it's like, whoa! Not only do the Carpathian Mountains matter, but also these mountains over here and these mountains over here. And it looks like in the ancient past, some massive body of water entered through here, flooded this whole place, but also through here, because that's the quote that was referred in the book. And it looks like it flowed out through here. Okay, so now that we know this, let's take it even further. What the heck is the Pannonian Basin? The Pannonian Basin or Carpathian Basin is a large basin in Central Europe. The geomorphological term Pannonian is more widely used for roughly the same region through with a somewhat different sense, with only the lowlands, the plain that remained when the Pliocene epoch Pannonian Sea dried up. Wait a minute, now we have a sea? Okay. What is this Pannonian Sea? Clearly, as Densusianu says in the book, there used to be an internum mare, an internal sea. And based on these, this is Romania, this is Romania, 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 and these are other countries, I think. Probably Hungary and whatever. But the point is, look at that, a whole body of water. Look at this. Detailed map of the southeastern part of Pannonian Sea during the Miocene epoch. Everything that is known as the Hungarian Plains today used to be this Pannonian Sea. So what is it? The Pannonian Sea was a shallow ancient sea located where the Pannonian Basin in Central Europe is now. The Pannonian Sea existed during the Miocene and Pliocene epochs when a 3 to 4 kilometer depth of marine sediments were deposited in the Pannonian Basin. In case you may not know the miles to I feel that Sophie is trying to tell me something. Anyways, 3 miles is 3 kilometers is 1.86 miles. 4 is 2.5 miles. So that's a seriously deep body of water, okay? Three to 4 kilometer depth. Marine sediments. History. The Pannonian Sea for most of its history was part of the Paratethys Sea. Wait a minute, you're telling me that it was part of something else prior to that? Look at that. So, if you go back in times further and further, you realize what eventually became the Pannonian Basin was other bodies of water. Now, when I read chapter 1, you will understand that life sprang in the mountaintops for the most part and moved downwards as the water bodies dissipated. Now, to get a better idea, this is the Great Hungarian Plain, as it's called. This whole mountain range was connected somehow, and only eventually a body of water came in through here, and a body of water came in through here. But for a very long time, this was separated. This was dead water. Dead water. Dead water. Dead water. Assuming there was water in this area. I don't know. But the water in here, in this enclosed space, was sweet water, fresh water, potable water. So the question becomes, how was everything else salt water, but in here it was fresh water? And that's a challenge in itself. At the same time, by understanding that this section was probably closed off, and if you go back to Pannonian Sea, it speaks about the Miocene epoch and Pliocene epoch, 2.5 million years, 23 to about 5.3 million years ago. Okay, you're saying this all happened in the distant past. How did this happen in the distant past when this was the early 1800s? How do you still have this much water only 200 years ago when this whole thing was filled with water about, I don't know, 5 million years ago, 2 million years ago? It just doesn't make sense. This would have had to have been filled with water much more recently, which then in turn brings validity to the claim that the Cimbri named the area outside this mountain range Oceanus Septentrionalis. And at the same time, it brings validity to the claim that the Hyperboreans lived in this area, that this was the original North Pole. One last thing. What does Wikipedia say septentrional means today? It says it means of the north. It's a word rarely used in English, but is commonly used in Latin and in the Romance languages. Yeah, I've never heard it till I got into this whole mud flood topic. The term septentrional usually is found on maps, mostly those made before 1700. Early maps of North America often refer to the northern and northwesternmost unexplored areas of the continent as the Septentrional and as the America Septentrionalis, sometimes with slightly varying spellings. I just spent 30 plus minutes demonstrating how Septentrionalis is actually dead water. It's actually ocean. So when this Wikipedia translation says that the northern and northwesternmost unexplored areas of the continent are septentrional, it tells me that America was underwater. Okay? In fact, let's take this a step further. American Septentrionalis. Let's see what we got here. Here's one. Terre off the bat I know means Earth. Greenland. I think this says Arctic, like Arctic. Really? That was the Arctic? Huh. Anyways, this is Hispaniola Nova, or New Spain, which is clearly Mexico area today. We know this is California. We know this is Texas and a few other states and the lower continental United States. But this whole section, ocean, Septentrionalis, ocean. Do you understand the grand deception just because of one word, Septentrionalis? I hope this video goes to the eyes of many that are presenting the mudflood topic, because most of you still need to understand correctly where the names of these things come from to present the absolute truth. Now you know. Half of the Americas, North America, was underwater not too long ago. Because when is this map made? Creator Lothar Tobias Conrad, 1717 to 1777. Creator. Oh, there we go. Date 1758. So in 1758, this area was ocean. Ocean. Now, one other thing. No. If you just type in Septentrionalis into Google, and you go to images, look at all these species of animals that show up. Why am I pointing this out? If you follow the locations of these species of animals, chances are you will see very clearly areas that were not too long ago ocean. So there is one additional implication with all of this. If this whole area was filled with water not too long ago, fresh water, and everything else was salt water, and only the tips of the mountain tops were dry land, how did life evolve? Because it has all the telltale marks of being planted to me, to be continued in the future. Hopefully I'll have chapter 1 posted today. Hope you enjoyed this video, and see you next time.